All right, we've got a fun 1v1 here. This is from our stream of the Warpstone Cup. This is King of the Dead versus Sarmation. So let's take a look at what we've got here. King of the Dead is playing Beastmen versus Sarmation, who is on Chaos, Warriors of Chaos here. So let's take a look at both armies real fast before the fighting gets kicked off. Across the front line for King of the Dead, he's got 3 Bestigor herds. One of them, of course, being Koroks Man Rippers here. These guys bring that anti-large, the AP, because they are halberd infantry with a little bit better stat line than your normal Bestigor herd, which is, of course, just a normal AP unit that kind of gets up close and personal. The most quote-unquote elite unit of the Beastmen roster. It's there to stay, you know. It does a good job of acting as a nice frontline anchor. It doesn't have the best leadership, so it does need that supporting benefit of other hero characters, other lord characters, but the nice thing about it is that it is going to be able to get up close and personal with some of those Warriors of Chaos. Now, in addition to that, we've got 2 units of Ungor Raiders, 2 units of Ungors with spears, well, 3, I'm sorry, 2 Chaos Warhounds with poison, and then 2 of the Baconators themselves, the Razor Gores, the Razor Gore herds, I almost call them the chariots. And these guys are AP. They were a really strong staple in Total War Warhammer 1. They were a really great way to crack open armored infantry units such as Warriors of Chaos, like you see before you, or even dwarfs. So really interesting to see them back here in the fight. You've also got the Destroyers of Drakvalk Forest that have poison attacks, and lastly you have Centigores. Now, without great weapons, these guys are not going to be a huge threat on the battlefield, but they will be nonetheless. Now you're going to see quite a bit of Marauder Horsemen here. Sarmation has gone with, I think, a total of 4 units of them. Yep, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's take a look at them really quick. This is some of the best, most cost-effective unit in the entirety of the Warriors of Chaos roster. Marauder Horsemasters are also just as, well, not just as strong, but strong in a different way. But they're very, very good, cost-effective skirmisher cab that allow you to get a lot of really good hits out to the enemy and at least keep a lot of skirmishing kind of range potential in a faction that otherwise has very little range potential. So they're a really good kind of a common stay of the meta nowadays. Now across the front line here we have a great deal of Chaos Warriors with great weapons, some with halberds and included as that. Now do keep in mind here, guys, the halberd, or I'm sorry, the great weapon has the AP, the halberd has your AP and anti-large, right, and the charge defense against large. So these guys are going to be the things that are going to take down your Cygords. These are going to take down your large creatures. I mean, look at them. They're like they're extras from some sort of metal band production that are just wailing on their air guitars as they ride into battle ceaselessly. Oh, I did forget to mention here, we do have Morgor the Shadowgrave. That is their lord, as well as the Brave Shaman of Death, because I'm just about to jump into, boom, the Chaos Lord of Shadows here, already kicking off an Arcane Conduit. It looks like they've got Enfeebling Foe and the Withering here. And of course the Curse of the Midnight Wind, or Melkoth's Misfying Miasma, my bad. I'm still not the best at identifying what they are by the symbols. But Melkoth's Misfying Miasma is going to be great here to slow things down. Enfeebling Foe is really going to help out with those large packs of Beastmen that are attacking your units. And the Withering is going to help crack open any kind of Bestigor herd that you need to really kind of do the best to kind of knock apart. You do have the Mirror Guard here. These guys are like your typical Warriors of Chaos with shield. They are, you know, kind of themed along the lines of Sigvald, but they really don't have a huge, crazy different stat line or bonuses outside of what they are. I mean, they do just a little bit better Chaos Warriors. You also have the Veered here, which are your Regiment of Renowned Chaos Spawn. You don't see them too often, but they do have Sundered Armor, which is really, really, really amazing. They're unbreakable, which is great to have as a whole across the entirety of the Warriors of Chaos roster. In addition to that, you just kind of have a unit that causes fear and terror here, which is great when you're fighting against Beastmen, because they do have that kind of a wafy leadership line. And of course you just have some normal Chaos Warriors here, 2 units of them. So let's get this going and go in a normal motion to get this action underway. We already have some skirmisher action kicking off on the left side of the battlefield here. Those Marauder Marauder Horsemen already going to town. Now he does have to watch out for these Chaos Warhounds with poison. That poison is going to significantly slow them down and make them a lot easier to pick off, make them less of a mobile threat on the battlefield. At this point in the game, I believe Sarmation was down 1 to King of the Dead. So King of the Dead, or Sarmation, is really fighting to come back from oblivion here. So he's got to really do what he can to kind of keep this fight going. Everything's kind of on the line for him. After this, he's eliminated. Let's see how this kind of plays out for him. Already got Melkoth's Misfying Miasma kicking off on Koroks Man Rippers. They aren't moving, so the speed kind of penalty here isn't going to be huge, but it does a little bit of damage to them over time. I don't know, I'd say about an eighth bit of health there. Or about the random dog barking in the background. It is Southern California and it's hot as hell, and my window does need to be open. So as you can see here, those Marauder Horsemen are just kind of staying at range, doing the kind of little bits of damage over and over and over. You got those Ungor Raiders here. The nice thing about them is that they do have stock. They're not very effective at necessarily destroying things outright. You want to use them to just kind of deliver constant, continuous damage. And you've got, oh man, look at the Mirror Guard. They've just been getting pelted by the Cygor the entire fight. Ooh, a good charge here by the Bestigors into them. Got the Chaos Spawn intercepting these charges with these great weapons. Then the Koroks Man Rippers jumping into them to just kind of smack them around with their halberds here. Look at this fight. Look at this just, oh, Razor Gore herds, Baconeers themselves, Farmer John's own, just jumping into the fight, using those quills everywhere. And of course, something automatically detached from my computer, so there's your USB notification, as per my one video. So, Fed Up unit kicking off against the Chaos Warriors here with great weapons. That's going to be huge to kind of knock them out of the battlefield quickly. You do have also, which one is this? The Withering, an upgraded Withering kicking off. When you do the upgraded Withering, it increases the armor reduction. It gets to 80? No, 30. With a -2 leadership. In addition to that, you can cast it in an area rather than one target. So you do have a little bit more usefulness out of this ability here. But those Ungor Raiders just kind of picking away at the Chaos Lord, Sorcerer Lord when they do have a chance. The Cygor kind of still chucking here, but is dealing with a little bit of resistance at the same time. The Bestigors are already routing to the Verd. Oh, I'm sorry, the Weird, who are jumping up close and personal. Now remember, the Veer don't have any kind of anti-large here, any kind of AP, but they do have Sunder Armor. They're going to make things a lot easier to pick apart for the rest of the army that does a significant amount of anti-large and AP. Now slow this down a bit, get abreast of the battlefield here. So we can see that the Skirmisher Cav is being kind of locked up and tied up with some of the Chaos Warhounds, with some of the Razor Gores. You've got the Centaurs over here kind of do-si-doing over here with the Marauder Horsemen. Now you've got this front line that is shattered. Sorry, my allergies, guys. And you've got these Chaos Warriors that are pouring in through that gap. They're going to really just deliver it to the Baconeaters. They're really just looking to cut off that pork belly and go straight into the Centaur. I'm sorry, the Cygor. The Cygor's armor is already being knocked down when it's significantly low as it is. I mean, it has 50 armor, now it's down to 20. Oof, that Sunder armor is already doing its job. And I mean, the Veer on their own can probably actually do a considerable amount of damage to him just by smacking him around a bit. Now, you have Morgr Shadowgrave surrounded by a lot of Chaos that are in a really, really, really good advantageous position. Because the Koroks Man Rippers are at about half health, so they do need to kind of worry about that. But Morgr Shadowgrave is very, very, very notorious for just being tanky as all hell. You've got this little charge here of these Ungor Spearman herds. The Veer just kind of just all over the place, but Morgr Shadowgrave summoning his own Chaos Spawn to assist the beleaguered Cygor as it gets free of everything for a little bit. Gets a chance to start chucking some more stones down range. Got the Chaos Spawn surrounded. Bestigors coming back in from a rally. Oh, yeah, look at that. Got this charge interrupted by that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, but boom, right still into the rear there. That is a pretty good opportunistic charge. These guys don't have AP, so won't be able to crack the armor substantially, but any kind of additional pressure, as you can see on the leadership of the Chaos Warriors, is going to help buckle them substantially. You do have to keep that in mind, because both these factions do suffer from some serious leadership issues, and it's interesting to get those cycle charges out, those fears and those terrors out where they really could be used to good advantage. Being on a mana core over there with the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, it does cause fear, it does cause terror. As you can see, these Ungor herds, the Raiders, they have been able to break free. They haven't been able to kind of been locked down 100%, so they're able to just kind of keep just continuous damage out on the battlefield. That's the biggest thing here, right? Oh, getting some Warhounds just jumping under these Centaurs. Now, one-on-one, the Warhounds would not win. The Centaurs are quite weak, and the biggest thing here with all kind of Warhound units is if you can't get them on an opportunistic... Oh, God. If you can't get them in an opportunistic charge, get them into a screening type scenario where they can screen a unit that is getting charged or lock down a unit that is about to get charged with those Warhound benefits. So another Fated unit getting kicked off here across more of those... Oh, man, that just missed. More of those Chaos Warriors with great weapons here. But you can see these Halberdiers, they do need to get off of this unit as fast as they can and then over to the Big Daddy over here. The Feared is just barely hanging on. I think there's 3 models left of this unit. Yep, just 3. They can break on over. You got the Chaos Sorcerer Lord looking just to shut down the Cygor. As long as it stays in combat with him, the Cygor can do quite a bit of damage. Hooves and single eye and all. That big old boulder. As long as they can shut it down like that, they can at least just prevent it from doing swaths of damage with each chuck to the rest of the infantry line. Well, it's Marauder Horsemen being able to just deliver a little bit of continuous punishment over here to the Cygor. Now, the big thing here is those Marauder Horsemen are going to be better used in engagement on these Ungor Raiders, because if you get those Ungor Raiders locked down, that's, again, not perpetual damage you have to deal with. Ooh, Melkoth's Misfiring Miasma kicking in on these Razorgore herds, shutting that charge down, making sure it's neutralized a little bit, keeping those Marauder Horsemen kind of free to do as they wish. And look what happened here, guys. You got those Chaos Warriors with Halberds freed up to now get onto the Cygor. The Veered, who are just Veered in themselves, can now just eat up these Ungor Raiders. Oh, man. Yeah, just got tripped up. He's like, oh, shouldn't have dropped the ball, coach. Manticore getting in there, trying to get that Cygor locked down. Now, the center fight is pretty much all completely done with, but the Marauder Horsemen are still kind of getting some additional damage here and there. Ungor Raiders, again, just kind of able to just harry the battlefield, get some of that perpetual damage out there. Shoot here, shoot there. Just kind of keep kiting things around. Getting some shots onto that Chaos Sorcerer there. Now, you do have Morgr still up and running. The balance of power, as you guys can see, is heavily in the favor of King of the Dead as the Beastman here. So, if he is to pull this out, I think he will now sufficiently knock Sarmation out of play, if I remember where this was in the stream correctly. But Warriors of Chaos are starting to come back here. They're starting to bring some units back from the fringes of the battlefield to see if they can hopefully clinch some sort of win here. But as you can see, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord's in really bad shape. He did just pop Arcane Conduit. That's going to allow him to get some additional Winds of Magic in here. Hopefully get maybe a Melkoth's Misfiring Miasma again onto some unit that can really benefit. But oh, look at that charge right from those Marauder Horsemen to the rear of those Ungor Raider, shutting them down. More into these Ungor Raiders as well, trying to get that damage off of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. If this Cygor can be brought down, that's a huge balance of power spike in favor of Chaos right now. And as you can see, the biggest threat through them are these Chaos Warriors with Halberds. If these guys can get free of this combat, they are going to be able to do a significant amount of damage to that Cygor. But the Cygor is in a really bad leadership position. So, with all these additional Halberds coming in and great weapons, things are kind of looking up a little bit more for Chaos. If they can kind of keep things maintained, they'll be in better shape. That's just a stomping. Just the Cygor having a temper tantrum. Where's my brother? I miss my Gorgon. Morgr completely surrounded now, though, so this is very dangerous. You've got these Ungor Raiders kicked off with the Melkoths. They'll be out of the fight here soon. And you've got that Cygor has finally fled. And now for the wrap-up, right? All onto Morgor's Shadowgrave here. We're coming down to the end of this fight. Who is going to win? Is this a Beastman fight? Is this a Warriors of Chaos fight? There's still quite a bit on the battlefield that can threaten Morgr, but there's still quite a bit that just really could be completely terror-routed if the cards aren't played right. You can see the waning leadership of all of the Chaos here, trying to get everything in, just an all-in alpha strike against Morgr and this Brave Shaman of Death, I believe. Death? Yeah, Death. Haha, I remembered. Down goes the Cygor, nipped at the heels by these Chaos Warhounds. Uh-oh, Brave Shaman of Death being just completely routed out. Another cycle charge in from the Chaos Lord. It is very dangerous, so look at that health is so low on him. So he has to play this smart. If he can just kind of harry the battlefield and just kind of keep some pressure on Morgr here, hopefully if he just gets some sort of army losses route kicking in, enough of a leadership penalty to get some stuff going. If we take a look at the leadership here for Morgr, how do I kind of get this going? There we go, we can see minus 14 for attack by rear, minus 6 for flanks exposed, more charging into him, cycle charge trying to knock that leadership down significantly. Things are in really bad shape, but things are just, they're on a fine, nice edge. You can see everything is so teetering on their health here. 1,900, I mean, Morgr's is still quite healthy. And that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, every charge in, gets him closer and closer to the chomping maw of Morgor's Shadowgrave. The sack of skulls on his back. Oh no! We got one unit of halberds already starting to flee. Let's get this little close up here. Oh no, oh no, oh no! And there it is. Army loss is kicking in, and just barely the Beastmen pulled this win out. Whew! My butthole gets always tight when I look at that one. So we take a look here at Sarmation's army, at his Warriors of Chaos. The Veered, an off-meta pick, not one I've actually seen in multiplayer quite at all lately, actually. But 75 kills, they got the job done. They were able to do quite a bit of armor centering onto that Cygor, keep a threat well neutralized in the mid to late game, and maybe helped to really kind of take it out the end because it was just so sundered nonstop by the Veered. They did fall, unfortunately, but not before they took a heavy tally with them. Now, across the entirety of the Marauder Horsemen, right, there is such a huge amount of kills here. What, 225 some odd kills? I mean, or 229 some odd kills, 230? That's pretty awesome here, right? And for their cost per return here, it's massive. And I mean, everything in Sarmation's army really did its job well. I mean, the one thing that I think that was lackluster, and honestly I think which actually lost the game for Sarmation, right there, Mirror Guard Chaos Warriors. So only 20 kills. They were focused from the from the get-go. So because of that, they were not able to really come online sufficiently. If he had maybe had the Blades of Chaos or maybe just normal Chaos Knights, he would have been able to do a lot more heavy cavalry harassment of the Beastmen. But that is a very tricky play because you do run up against a lot of Centaurs with great weapons when you're up against Beastmen as Warriors of Chaos. So I think that Sarmation wanted to play it tight, high and tight here and go with the Mirror Guard, which is a little bit safer of a pick. But I think at the end of the day, their point cost for it and with the lack of return is what was kind of the Achilles heel in his army here. Now, by taking a look at King of the Dead here, he had quite a bit of return too on his Bestigors, 30, 94, and 51. A lot of really great kills here. With these Chaos Warhounds, I mean, 24 and 63, that was mainly attributed, obviously, to these Marauder Horsemen. So they did really get a really good amount of play in there. 58 kills from this Cygor was almost exclusively done to those Mirror Guard, but they were still chucking wet and wild into some halberds and great weapons. We can't discredit that. But Morgar got a whopping 74 kills in and of himself. And as you can see here, guys, these Ungor Raiders, 18 and 26 kills. I mean, they're a pretty low value unit and they were constantly dishing out damage. So you do have to be pretty mindful of that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this fight here today. We've got another one coming out from the Warpstone Cup here later in just a little bit. So stay tuned for that. We've got another Warpstone Cup. I think the 4th one will be coming out on Wednesday. We'll be doing a stream of that. Got plenty of lore videos, campaign, and head-to-head coming out this week. So stay tuned as well. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And hopefully we'll hear from you soon, guys. Well, have a good one and take care.